Every morning before the sun rises, he waits at the same door, facing the same road, listening to the same silence. Max doesn't know how many days have passed. He doesn't count time the way we do. He only counts heartbeats, and every heartbeat whispers the same thing. She's coming back. Max wasn't just a dog. He was a promise made flesh, a promise to wait, to believe, to love, no matter what. The wind carries the scent of wet earth. Leaves rustle across the empty porch. Still, he waits. Neighbors pass by, shaking their heads. Some leave scraps of food, some leave only pity in their eyes, but Max sees none of it. His eyes are locked on the horizon, on a memory, on a girl named Emma, who once promised she would return. And even though the world forgot her, Max never did. Max wasn't born on that porch. He arrived one rainy afternoon, a clumsy ball of golden fur shivering under an old wooden bench. Emma found him, or maybe he found her. She was 8 years old, quiet, carrying sadness far too big for her small shoulders. Her father had just left. Her world had cracked open, and into that broken place Max stumbled. He wasn't perfect. He chewed her shoes, chased butterflies into traffic, and once fell into a bucket of paint. Emma laughed for the first time in months. They became inseparable. He walked her to school every morning, sat waiting by the gate every afternoon. Through thunderstorms and playground bullies, Max was always there. In a world that kept falling apart, he was the one thing Emma could trust. And every night, when the stars came out, she would whisper into his ear, "Don't ever leave me, okay?" And Max, with his whole heart, answered in silence, "Never." Life has a way of breaking promises, even the ones we swear we'll keep. It happened suddenly. Emma's mother got sick, the kind of sick that no medicine could fix. Hospitals, bills, fear whispered through their small house like a cold wind. One evening, Emma overheard a conversation she wasn't supposed to hear. They had to move. Far away, sell the house, leave everything behind, even Max. Emma begged, tears streaming down her face, clutching Max's collar like a lifeline. But her mother's eyes, tired and hollow, said it all. They had no choice. The night before they left, Emma sat with Max on the porch. The moon was full, casting silver light over the fields. She wrapped her arms around him and buried her face in his fur. "Wait for me, okay?" she whispered. Max wagged his tail softly, not understanding words, but feeling every crack in her voice. And when the car drove away before sunrise, he ran after it until his legs gave out. Then he crawled back to the porch, curled up by the door, and waited. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into endless seasons. Summer scorched the porch. Max panted under the relentless sun, but stayed. Autumn painted the world in gold and fire. Leaves piled against the door, but Max never moved. Winter came brutal and cold. Snow buried the steps. Max shivered through the nights, a golden statue of hope. Neighbors worried. Some tried to coax him away, offering warm homes, soft beds. But Max refused. His loyalty wasn't something that could be bought with comfort. It was stitched into every beat of his heart. Sometimes at night he would lift his head, ears twitching at the sound of tires on gravel. Every engine, every footstep, every whisper of the wind. He thought it might be her. But each time, silence answered back. Still, Max waited, because the promise was stronger than the years, stronger than hunger, stronger than loneliness. And somewhere, deep inside, he knew, she's out there. She just needs time. Far away, in a city that never slept, Emma tried to build a new life. But no matter how busy the streets, how bright the lights, there was always a silence inside her. She missed her mother terribly. She missed the house. But most of all, she missed Max. At night, when the world quieted down, she would close her eyes and see him, ears perked, tail wagging, waiting by the door. Guilt wrapped around her heart like heavy chains. She had promised, and she had broken it. Years passed. Emma grew up. She finished school, found work, tried to forget. But forgetting Max was impossible. Some loves carved their names too deep. One rainy evening, cleaning out a closet, she found it, an old photograph, a little girl and her golden puppy sitting under an apple tree, smiling like nothing could ever go wrong. Emma sat down on the floor, holding the photo to her chest. Tears she thought were long buried came rushing back, and then, like a whisper in her soul, "It's time to go home." The journey back felt endless. Mile after mile, Emma watched raindrops race down the window, each one carrying a memory she thought she had forgotten. The closer she got, the tighter the knot in her stomach became. Would he even be there? Would he remember her? Or worse, what if he was gone? She told herself not to hope too much. Too many years had passed. Too much had changed. But her heart didn't listen. As she turned onto the old gravel road, the world seemed frozen in time. Same fields, same leaning fence, same old house at the end of the lane. Only now, it looked abandoned. Broken shutters, vines climbing the walls, paint peeling like forgotten dreams. Emma stepped out of the car, her hands trembling. The air smelled of wet earth and old wood. She opened the gate slowly, the rusty hinge squealing like a cry from the past. And then she called, voice cracking, "Max?" Silence. The porch was empty. No golden fur, no wagging tail, only the wind and the heavy beating of her heart. Emma stood there frozen, the cold seeping through her jacket, through her skin, into her bones. She sank onto the porch steps, tears spilling freely now. "I'm so sorry, Max," she whispered into the grey afternoon. "I should have come back sooner. I should have never left you." The sky darkened, clouds gathered, heavy and mournful. For a moment, all she could hear was the soft drum of rain on the wooden roof, the creak of the old swing, the ache of everything she had lost. And then, a sound, soft, tentative, a shuffle of paws on wet gravel. Emma lifted her head, barely daring to hope. From behind the twisted apple tree, something moved. Two golden ears, drooping with age but unmistakable. A cautious step, a familiar face, grey around the muzzle but shining with recognition. "Max," she breathed. His body trembled, unsure for a heartbeat. And then, like the years had never passed, he ran. Old legs, stiff and clumsy, carried him straight into her arms. Emma dropped to her knees, sobbing, laughing, holding him tighter than she ever had before. "You waited for me," Max whined, nuzzling into her chest, his tail wagging with the force of 1,000 yesterdays. And in that moment, every broken piece inside her began to heal. That night, Emma didn't sleep in a strange bed. She slept in the house she once called home, and Max, curled up beside her, slept the deepest sleep of his life. Years had changed them both. New scars, new grey hairs, but the bond between them had never broken. In the days that followed, Emma cleaned the house, repaired the fence, planted new flowers in the old garden. And Max, though slower now, followed her everywhere. Every step, every chore, every sunrise, they lived it together. Neighbors smiled when they saw them. Whispers turned into stories, stories turned into legends. The dog who waited, the girl who came back. Sometimes Emma would sit on the porch at sunset, Max's head resting on her lap, and she would whisper, "Thank you for waiting." And though Max couldn't speak, his eyes said everything. You were always worth it. Because love like theirs never fades. It only grows stronger with time. And some promises are forever.